So what? Show up again tomorrow, and tomorrow out of that dog shit, a flower will emerge. You never know, and that's the only way to develop real.
And you understood that you don't need to go back to that mistake again.
These things in life are not easy for me. You look to your left, you look to your right, and you start to judge yourself off other people.
I'm a winner. I'm going to win. You're born with a gift. It's not that then you get good at something along the way. What you're good at, you don't take for granted. You don't betray it. What if you do? Betray your gift? And you betray yourself. For far too long, you've been holding yourself back. This is time for you. To walk with purpose, it's time for you. To walk into your gift.
Like, to really develop your potential 100% in anything, whether it's as an author or even as a martial artist. There's a lot of creativity in martial arts. To be a great striker, you have to be creative because you have to develop patterns or execute patterns that aren't going to be perceived. This idea that life is hard, something you're supposed to shield from them, it's so silly. And, you know, I've had this conversation with my friends because, so we put our kids in these good schools, we live in these nice neighborhoods, everybody eats healthy, and there's no fucking domestic violence, and everybody seems, it's so different than all of our lives. And we were talking about it. Me and Brian Callen were actually talking about it.
And yes, sometimes you may make the same mistakes. But those mistakes can be even more crucial in your life. And this is why you must continue to push forward and get rid of the things that are not making you better. The battle continues. Carry on. Be productive. Be powerful. And from the bottom of my heart, conduct your business. Lights, camera, action. How much action do you have flowing through your veins right now?
And they're all interesting, but I don't want my kids to be boring, but I also want them to be safe. So it's like, how do you approach that? I mean, I think you get involved. This is what I've chosen to do, is get my kids involved in martial arts and give them the opportunity to pursue difficult things, and understanding that through pursuing these difficult things, like in accomplishing stuff, like you learn something about yourself. You learn that you have this ability inside of you to overcome. Get obsessed with life improvement. Find things that you enjoy doing that are difficult, do them and get better at them. It seems so simplistic. It seems like a ridiculous, idealistic point of view, but it's effective. Well, you need some amount of pride and some amount of ego to get good at things in the first place, because it's such a counterintuitive notion, because you have to have a belief in yourself. You have to be able, like when you start out at jiu-jitsu, you're a white belt. Like, I remember being a white belt and being like, oh.
How far are you willing to push yourself? Or are you the type of person that likes to sell wolf tickets? Like to fake the funk? Pretending you're doing something when you're really not? How much effort are you honestly putting into your craft, into your ideas, into your work? Whatever it is that you got going on in your life, what are you prepared to do? Action. Think about that for a minute. How long have you been stuck in a rut, constantly making the same mistakes over and over again? But there's nothing wrong with mistakes. But why do you keep making them? The same mistakes. Keep making yourself, putting yourself in a position where you can't go beyond those mistakes. Constantly making excuses. All you're doing is preaching. All you're doing is putting out words. But there's no action. Ladies and gentlemen, you got to put the action in. You got to be about your business.
It's time for you to live your best life. We're going to make mistakes. You got to own them. Then you got to make amends. And then you got to move on, so turn the page, get off the ride. You are the author of the book of your life. Turn that page. The only person you're destined to become is the person you decide to be. You never made a mistake, it means you never tried. If you never tried, means you never took a chance.
Like, if you're a female, well, she's skinny and she doesn't work out as hard as I do, and everything starts to corrupt your mind. You start to look around too much at other people and what they're doing, and that starts to corrupt your own dialogue. We are judging ourselves against too many people. You have to judge yourself against yourself. And that's the one thing I started learning, man. This isn't a race against me and other people. This is a race against David Goggins and David Goggins alone. And once you can silence all that bullshit, all the outside interference and things that are attracting your mind to everything, you can then start to grow and realizing I'm stressed out for no reason. This is my own little race. This is my own timeline, and this is how I'm going to run it. The conversation has to become an honest conversation of where you're at mentally. Where am I at mentally?
If you never took a chance, you never believed in yourself. You never had faith. You need faith, you need to believe in yourself. It doesn't matter how many times you fail. What matters is you keep getting up every day and trying again. That's what really is important. Knowing that you know each day you have an opportunity to change, but I want to give you a new word for change. And that word is evolution. Who are you? Going to evolve or inspire, see everything.
What you believe you deserve, and you're allowing it to happen. And I'm going to challenge you today to stop that. Stop allowing it and know that you deserve better. And so we're going to talk about something very ironic today that doesn't seem connected to it, but it's absolutely connected to it. And that's ego. See, the truth is ego is always false. Ego is always something that raises its head when we're insecure, when we're fearful. If you meet people that you think are egomaniacs that are constantly bragging about themselves, these are the most insecure people that you know. They're the most fearful people that you know. They're the most scared, and they're usually the least happy. And so, but I'm going to say something to you that I want you to consider as I go through ego today. I know you think, wow, I'm so down on myself. How could I have an ego? It's actually the people that are down on themselves that actually have their ego materialize and show up more often than they think. And it's their ego that may actually be holding them back. You think, wow, how could someone with low self-esteem have a big ego? Well, trust me, they do. And so egos are not part of people with high self-esteem. The people in my life that are the most self-confident typically don't have big egos.
Look like shit. I feel like shit. I'm falling behind in school. I'm lazy. My house is a mess. You have to look at what it is and call it what it is. Don't find words to make yourself feel better. Because you hang around people that make us feel better, that tell us what we want to hear, not what we need to hear. And so we stay away from those people. And we stay away from those people, like our internal dialogue becomes that kind, it's okay. It's not okay. So that's where it starts. It starts with that accountability of it's not okay anymore. This can no longer be okay. And calling yourself out for exactly what you are and exactly how you need to fix it.
We have an epidemic in this world. The epidemic I'm talking about is
changes, the economy changes, relationship changes, we change mentally and emotionally and physically, and you are either dying or you are either living life. Always offers you a second chance. You know what it's called. Tomorrow, see change as growth, see change as transformation, see change as evolution. Your history is not your destiny. You can't get it because you want it. If you put in the work, they can't deny you.
And so I want to talk to you about that today. By the way, I'm covering this today like many things I cover because it's something I struggle with. My ego will step forward often in my life, and it usually steps forward when I'm the most scared. It could be when I'm achieving. I'm starting to be pretty full of myself, right? But a lot of times when you're achieving and you're full of yourself, what's really happening in your mind is you're afraid you're going to fall down. You're afraid you're going to lose something. You're afraid there's going to be a setback. So often our friends, where we see their ego, is when they're doing good. Or she thinks she looks so good, she's showing herself. Actually, she doesn't think she looks good, and she's looking for validation from other people. You guys that have a friend, he's really winning, he's making a lot of money, he's just not the same, he's got a big ego all of a sudden. You'd be surprised. That money he's making, that car he's driving now, he's so afraid he's going to lose it. He's so scared. He so believes his results have exceeded who he really is. He's so out over his skis that ego shows up because he's afraid. When you see ego, know it usually means fear. And I know that sounds counterintuitive, but it's true.
What's up is down, what's left is right. Chasing stars and holding you. I can't see the end, but we'll see it through. Times don't fly too high. Be sure to keep the ground in sight. Fly forever if you keep it tight. Love the world but keep the sky on your mind.